everyone. Welcome to another episode of TechTalk Dudes. And today I'm here with my fellow Pim Jacobs, and we are again having a great topic to discuss. I guess it's about Entra. Good guess, is it right, Pim?
Yeah.
What else, huh?
No more guesses allowed.
No, okay. Hey, great to have you, and also welcoming the people around here. And yeah, identity, it's a hot topic, because actually identity is the first surface attack being used, heavily being used, whether it's password spray or token thefts or whatsoever. They're all kind of tactics to retrieve or get the credentials of us attempting to. And that's also what I noticed. There is so much development also with Entra ID, identity protection, new capabilities. And I believe there are some new features on the rise or becoming available within Entra ID to enhance our to protect and safeguard our identities. And that's something you want to talk about today, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, thanks for everyone who joined in and is watching right now. So let's first start with that, and thanks for being here again with me, Ronnie. But yeah, correct, indeed. I wanted to talk about the fact that a lot of organizations, luckily enough, today turned on MFA. Still not all of them, unfortunately, but we are on the right track, I think, with providing identities with multi-factor authentication. But then still, what you see in practice, and I think what most companies see in practice, is that once it's implemented, I'm receiving those notifications on my mobile phone for because of someone using my username and password combination. Could be my mobile app notification, could be a voice call, etc., etc. And since a few months, there is a new setting in there where I can report suspicious activity, which was already possible, I think, from a traditional perspective within Azure MFA, but then was still limited to an administrator who needs to unblock the account. And there are some new developments, right? As I mentioned, since a month or two, where this is way more flexible and can be integrated with identity protection, which is quite a nifty solution, if you would ask me, because what we actually would be able to do is, let's say you have leaked credentials as a user, Ronnie. I hope you don't, as someone who's working for Microsoft. But hey, you never know. But you sign in with if someone gets your credentials, so your credentials are leaked, that attacker is using your username and password, and you get a notification, you would now be able to say, hey, this is not me, report a suspicious activity, and then Entra will apply the magic for you, or actually, if you would have configured that kind of magic, of course, and that would mean that you as a user need to do a password reset, because your credentials are leaked, and your account is vulnerable, which means we can make sure that your account requires a password reset, no matter if it's a cloud account or if it's a hybrid identity, because both would work with the right configuration, of course.
So if you're subject to MFA spoofing, you have now an option where you can select, no, this is not me, and that action will result in the fact that your account will be flagged as a risky account, and that will initiate, for example, a password reset in a proactive manner, completely automatically, without intervention of your IT department.
Yeah, correct. And no, it's not me counts, of course, as for the mobile app notification, and for the mobile for your mobile phone phone calls, you could use a number which you can then reply with, and then I think you need to and with pound key, but that's I'm not using voice very often.
That's history.
Well,
nothing missed with your voice, Pim. So
for me, indeed, SMS voice calls would be history, but for a lot of organizations in practice, it's still different. I can show it to you so that it maybe makes a little bit more sense into how you can even migrate those fraud alerts from or those suspicious activities from the old portal to the new settings, and how that integrates with conditional access if you want to.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, definitely.
Let me bring up the screen.
Yeah, just curious where I can find this setting and how to set it, and wow, how that results in. So
first of all, and that's a call out to everyone who is watching. Use the Entra portal, entra.microsoft.com. And new features will arise in here, not anymore in the old portal. For example, global secure access and others. Then once you're there, go to protection, hit multi-factor authentication, and then on fraud alerts. This is the thing which I think a lot of folks who are watching already know, where you could turn on fraud alerts, but then this was still limited to voice calls, as I already mentioned. And if you would turn on the block feature, this would require a manual unblock by an administrator who would then be able to process this. That's not very handy, and from an end user perspective, not very user friendly and very intense for maybe your service organization, depending on the size. So what Microsoft has now offered, and that's why I turn it off right here, because I wouldn't recommend you to turn them on both at the same time, is going to authentication methods, and then there is a knob here called settings. And if I go to settings, you would see a new option called report suspicious activity. And this is actually a great feature, because what it will do is it will not only limit this to voice calls, the reporting code 0 in this case, but it's also accountable for the Microsoft Authenticator app, which wasn't possible with the old fraud alerts which we just shown. So if you enable this, and you can enable this for all your users, you can enable it for a particular group in your environment to test it out. So it's really easy to start adopting this feature. People would be able to say in the app, and I will show that in a demo a little bit later on, hey, this is not me, and report this to my tenant, and then make sure that the user will be a high risk. So that's basically what the report button will do. Now, and as you maybe can already comment on, you can imagine what we can do with user risk. User risk is a feature which we can then use within conditional access. So what I've done in my example, I made a policy where my Johnny Bravo accounts are included, and where I've said in the conditions, if the user risk is high, then the user should change his password. In most scenarios, in this case, you would see that we're talking here about leaked credentials, because someone is knowing your username and password, and that's why you're getting that voice call. That's why you're getting that MFA prompt. So that's why I also said as an access control, require the password change. Now, if we then look how this looks in practice, and I need to bring in my other screen. 1 second. Oh, that's signed in. That's I already signed. This is what it's showing in here. Then if I sign in, would sign in with username and password. So let's say, presume I'm an attacker right now on the screen on the background. Then in here I would see, hey, are you trying to sign in? And in this case, this one is attacker. So let's say, no, this is not me. I'm getting a separate button where I can say report suspicious activity. Well, yeah, this is really suspicious because this definitely wasn't me. So let's hit report. Of course, I need to do Face ID, and eventually the request is denied. So basically, my end user actions are now done. The hacker sees request is denied. All good. Nobody got access, but still, that attacker has my username and password combination potentially. So, what now happens on the background? And I already prepared a little bit for the demo because otherwise we're waiting a lot of time for audit logs. What I can see, and I filtered this in this case on the service Azure MFA, I can see that I earlier on already reported suspicious activity. And I can do that via phone call. In this case, I can even see that it's done via phone call. But if I look at the, must be another one in here. Yeah. If I look at another one, I can see that it's mobile app notification. So I can do this from both ends. Phone call would be, in this case, pressing 0 pound key, and then that's done. That's also explained if Microsoft is going to dial you. For the mobile app notification, you've just seen the experience. So what now happens? My suspicious activity is reported, indicating my user risk went up to high. Let's go to my risky users, and indeed I can see here, hey, my Johnny Bravo account has a risk, is at risk, and it's indeed since the time which you just shown in the logs, my earlier attempt at 20 past 2 today, my user got at risk. Hey, why is this actually happening? So I can even go to the risk history, and I can even see here that my and there are earlier events in here, but my user reported suspicious activity, and that's why my at risk state went too high. So with this, I can go from I can bring more control to the end user to report the suspicious activity from Authenticator app and phone perspective, and besides provide them an option now to fix this own risk. Because what happens actually if I now do a sign in on this browser? So let's cancel this one, and I will sign out here. So now next time the user is going in, it's able to perform MFA because, hey, the user, this is the actual user, so the user is now performing the MFA request itself. And then it's actually prompted with, hey, you need to update your password. Okay. And it's even saying, as someone else may have access to your account, you need to choose a new password. So basically, the system already acts on the base of the user risk to update the password. So it's explaining even the user why it needs to update their password. So let's create a new password for this one. And I hope I didn't make any typos. And as you can see, and I've got access again to my Johnny Bravo account with a new user. And in time, that this can take a little bit of time, this user risk will be dismissed and my user can work again. So in the past, the latter experience where the user would be able to dismiss their risk themselves would be by calling by IT because the account was blocked. So this is a sorry. So basically, this this improved the service a lot from an end user perspective and from an IT perspective.
Yeah, it's actually twofold. It's protecting you from that your account is being compromised, and then again, if you want to recover it from yourself, then you log in again, accept the prompt, and then you have to you will be nudged to change your password because the bad attacker knows your password, and by changing your password, it starts all over again, and hopefully the bad actor is not able to retrieve your password once again.
Exactly. But it's a combination between the two features, which is really important, of course. You need to have identity protection for the auto remediation of that particular risk. But the suspicious activity could already be enabled from P1, but then, it basically, there is no action on top of that one.
Hey, Pim, it's a great example, straightforward. That's I love these kind of examples. It's quite easy, straightforward, but so powerful. But one thing we were in preparation of this talk, you mentioned about something about this experience looks a little bit different when you are using passwordless sign in with the phone sign in. Perhaps that's also something worthwhile to explain to our users how that behave in a different way and the reasoning why.
Yeah, so I was literally before we took this recording, I was getting nuts because I didn't get that report button in the Authenticator app. And what actually it's a logical explanation afterwards, but everything is logical afterwards once you know why it's happening.
Yeah.
But the reason why that was happening was because this account, which I just used for the demo, was enabled for phone sign-in. And phone sign-in is of course a passwordless method. And this system, um, uh, whereby we're talking about leaked credentials, is of course assuming that your credentials are leaked. So you're going to report something based on the fact that you think this is someone else and your credentials are leaked. But passwordless, you're basically not using a password, so it's quite hard for that your credentials could still be leaked, but with a passwordless experience, anyone would be able to trigger that phone sign-in notification just by entering your UPN and then say send. So that's why you wouldn't see that notification prompt. So you would still be able to hit no, it's not me, but then afterwards that report screen in the Authenticator app won't pop up. So that's, I think, indeed a good point to mention in here, which I didn't mention, Ronnie. That's right.
Yeah. Well, there were these kind of talks for to explain the technology and to give some extra, because it's also worthwhile to exchange and share these insights. So yeah, thank you very much, Pim. It was an interesting one, and hopefully the people also enjoyed this tech talk. And yeah, thanks for your simple and straightforward explanation, and it's very clear to me. And I'm already my hands are a little bit itching to implement it myself. And with that, well, thank you very much for watching again a new episode of Tech Talk Dudes. And yeah, together with Pim, we are looking forward to have you next time.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Ronnie. Thank you for watching. Get started. It's not that it's not that complex. It's really easy. And then indeed, I hope to see you again next time.
You bet. Take care.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.